Never in my life did I think I would be sitting down and filming a video about books, but here we are. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. I'm super excited to be bringing you today's video, something I have been thinking about for a little while. And if you've been keeping up with the vlogs, you would know how into my books I am at the moment. The last year or so, I've been really getting into my self-development books. I love psychology books, and I actually get a lot of questions about the books that I'm currently reading or the books that I've read, because I do share a bit of that over on my Instagram. And I thought today it would be fun to sit down and share with you guys some of my favorite books for changing your mindset. If you are looking to level up or just really expand your knowledge in the self-development space, I have some really exciting books that you have to read. I also would like to preface this video by saying I am not a reader. I am not one of those girlies who can sit down and read a whole book in one sitting. Like, respect, but that is not me. I am one, a very slow reader, but two, I really struggle to get into a lot of books. And I mean like just, I'm saying that very lightly, getting into fiction books, but non-fiction, like self-development, self-help books, psychology books are my jam. I love reading for a purpose. And by purpose, I mean like I'm gaining some sort of knowledge or bettering myself somehow. And when I read the most is normally like before bed. So I'm very picky about the books that I want to read before I go to sleep. These are some of my favorite books that I have read over the past year that I really wanted to share with you guys and kind of have this video for you guys to be able to look back on if you're looking for a new read or you're just wondering what books I have really loved and really gotten into, because all of these books in some way or another have changed my mindset and changed things for me mentally. So I really think you guys are going to get a lot out of these books if you do end up deciding to read them. I have all of the books sitting here with me now. Sit back, grab a coffee, grab a tea, and let's chat about some of my favorite books. Okay, I think we have to start right at the top, right where it all began. These books are a must read. I honestly have referred so many friends and family onto these books. These books are from the Resilience Project, which I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of. Written by Hugh van Cuylenburg. He also does the Imperfects podcast, which you may or may not have heard of. Also, wow, my hair looks so brown today. Sorry, I'm just double checking the footage in the viewfinder. He does the Resilience Project, which they go into schools and workplaces. It's honestly an epic movement, and I definitely recommend looking into it. But these two books really have been a game changer for me, and I know they've been a game changer for so many other people. But the first one is this one, which is Finding Happiness Through Gratitude, Empathy and Mindfulness. This is kind of where it all starts from, and it goes through a lot of his experiences traveling and just exploring the concept of gratitude and empathy and mindfulness. This is one of those books that I wish everybody could read. Like, I wish we just all had a bit more understanding on these topics. And if you follow my channel and my social media, you'll know this is kind of what I am passionate about. These three things. In some ways, this book really kicked off my passion in all of that kind of stuff. Actually, I probably read this maybe 2 years ago now. But yeah, this is one of those books that you can go back and read again and just constantly gets loaned out to friends. I would really recommend starting here. But he does have another book, and this one is called Let Go. I found this book actually so empowering and motivating to read. It's time for us to let go of shame, expectation, and our addiction to social media. He just writes really well, honestly. And I really hope he comes out with a third book, because the things that he talks about and the way that he puts everything, it's very easy to understand, which is a big one for me. I find it really hard to read books in this space that use a lot of jargon and just, I don't know, are a little bit more complex to understand. Even me, having graduated with a psychology degree, I find a lot of the psychology books a little bit, I don't want to say hard to digest, but that's kind of what I'm saying. This book is not like that, and I found this book really motivating, as it says, in terms of my addiction to social media and kind of helping me reevaluate where a lot of my expectation comes from. Let's face it, a lot of us are addicted to social media, and I just think this is an important read for all of us. So yeah, definitely start off with this one, but if you can get your hands on the second one, if you like him, because yeah, I find that the way that these books are written, it's very good. This is another holy grail book of mine that I couldn't recommend enough, and I feel like if you are into mindfulness and meditation and are open to doing that, this is another really good book to get onto. I actually read this book when I started getting into a little bit of a trap with my anxiety, and yeah, just when I wasn't doing great mentally, and this was the book I read whilst I was going through a really hard time. And what I love about this book, it kind of takes you through day by day. Just turn to a random page. It says week 1, day 4, mindfulness of sound meditation. And there's like a little bit to read. It's nothing too crazy, takes you through a daily practice and helps build up your mindfulness skills, which ultimately lead to you feeling happier. But it's a very practical book. She also has some guided meditations which are attached to this book, which you can go to the URL link and yeah, sit down and do those meditations throughout the book. The point of this book is to do each day as a single day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a program, I guess you could say, in book form. I found it really, really helpful for me. I still use a lot of the tools that she talks about. She is actually a psychiatrist that's turned into like an entrepreneur. I don't know, she's really cool. She also does some guided meditations on Insight Timer, which is the app that I use to do a lot of my meditations. Also, just to note, I will put all of the names and authors of these books down in the description so you can reference them and come back to them. This one's for the ladies and the guys, but I find a lot of my girlfriends and family are in need of reading this book. This one is called Setting Boundaries by Dr. Rebecca Gray. It says care for yourself and stop being controlled by others. I am a people pleaser. I have always really struggled with having non-fluid boundaries, and as I've gotten older, I have really seen the need for having boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries as well. Like, I think it comes hand in hand and gives you a lot more understanding on why it's so important to have boundaries, whether that be with your family, with your friends, with your partner. And I just think this is a really key book to read. It's a lot of really practical, helpful strategies that you can start utilizing straight away. All of the advice that she uses is like science-based backed research, so it's really awesome that it's like kind of coming from someone who has a lot of experience in this field. It says identify your boundaries, and when they have been crossed, recognize the patterns and habits that have failed to support you to feel empowered, engage in difficult conversations from a place of strength and self-kindness, and set clear and intentional boundaries. Setting boundaries has just been such a core theme for me over the past year and a bit, and I think it's something we could all get a little bit better at, and also have a bit more understanding, I guess, of why other people set their boundaries. I think it can be very easy to set our own and say this is where I draw the line, but I think we also need to understand why other people draw the line where they do, because we may not understand that. This is a really good read. So this one's not actually in, I guess, the self-help category, but I just found this a really influential book in improving my mindset, and particularly on the topic of gratitude. This is a really good book. It just puts everything into perspective, I think, and it's written so well as well. You've probably heard of it. It is The Happiest Man on Earth by Jaku. He's a survivor of the Holocaust. He's a Jew. He was in Auschwitz in Germany, and yeah, this is just a really enlightening book to read. Just a PSA, I cried when I read this book. So cute. On the back it says life can be beautiful if you make it beautiful, it's up to you. And I just, something in this book just really shifted a lot of things for me and kind of pushed me to, I guess, break some old habits and really emerge into the self-development space. This is a true story as well. This is obviously written by Jaku, but such a good book. Like, would really recommend everyone to read this. Another one. A lot of these books, I guess, are books that I think everyone should read. Get your best friend onto it. Get your sister onto it. Get your boyfriend onto it. I know boys sometimes don't want to get into the self-development space, but this is important as a human. The next book is a book that I have just recommended the crap out of. As I said earlier, I have a psychology degree, and when I was studying, this was like just my favorite thing to learn about. I find attachment theory so fascinating, and even if you're not in the psychology space, like this is fundamental to a lot of different patterns of behavior. Attachment theory does underlie a lot of human behavior. It's basically our attachment style, so to our caregivers or our parents growing up, and that kind of shapes how we are as adults, I guess. And it goes through all of the attachment styles in depth, talks about it in the sense of love and how our childhood has shaped how we are in relationships, and yeah, not just romantic as well, like it can be carried across any kind of relationship. But it's really important to understand your attachment style, and also in turn the people around you's attachment style, particularly your significant other and your partner. It helps form such a basis of a relationship, and I feel like knowledge is power, and if you know your partner's attachment style and can work with that, this will be really, really helpful for you. So yeah, it goes through anxious, avoidant, secure, and yeah, there's like some little quizzes as well in here to do, so you can go through and work out what you might be, and you can also give this to your partner and they can do it. Read it, please. For the love of humankind, please read the book. Okay, while we're on the topic of love, yeah, this kind of doesn't fit into any of these categories. Oh, I mean, it kind of does. The 5 love languages. I am sure you have heard of this. This is like a fundamental book to read about relationships. Read this single, read this when you're in a relationship, whatever. I feel like this is another book that you could keep coming back to because your love languages do change over time. I know mine have, but yeah, I think it's really important to know everybody's love language, not just if you're in a relationship, but your family, your friends, anyone that you're wanting to connect with, you need to know their love languages. And it's such a powerful tool to be able to nurture some of the relationships we have. So yes, if you didn't know, there are 5 love languages. There is words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. Okay, so you can actually do the test in here. So yeah, at the back of the book it actually does have a test for you to do, so you can rate yourself and find your particular love language. I know for me, my top 2 are tied. It is physical touch and quality time, followed very closely by acts of service. I love when people show that they're thinking of you by doing something that's going to help you. Words of affirmation and gifts are actually really low, so it's kind of those first 3 that really, I don't even know what to say. Read the book. Okay, have I talked about this book enough? I'm coming back to it. I've actually been very impressed on how much I've influenced my friends to buy this book without actually influencing them to buy the book. By that I mean I haven't specifically just like told them go buy this book. It is a great book. It is Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Vex King books are a must to add to your reading list. This one I found was a really good overall book for me to read as I got into kind of leveling up. And it's a really good book. I read this at the end of last year, so it was really good going into a new year having read all of this book. But obviously you can read it anytime. You can see I've actually put some little sticky tabs in important parts because there are exercises and strategies that he talks about in this book that I still use today in my everyday life. I have incorporated these into my daily routine and I have found such a difference. He really knows what he's talking about. But yeah, he talks a lot about manifesting, the law of attraction. He talks a bit about affirmations as well, which has become a big part of my daily routine, and just raising your vibration and what a difference that makes to how your life plays out. So yeah, definitely would recommend this one. It's a really good overall book. There's a lot of different bits and pieces in this book. And also on the topic of Vex King, Healing is the New High. I read this book as I started going through my healing chapter in life, and it was really good. Again, it's a very practical one. You can kind of like do the exercises and whatnot as you go through it. There's exercises in each chapter, and he gets you to explore a lot about yourself and past trauma. It's very heavy and you really have to digest it, but it's such a helpful tool if you are on your own healing journey, or if you know someone that is. I think this could be a really beautiful book to give them. And it's like really easy to understand. Vex King writes his books very well. He also has another one coming out about love. I forget what it's called, but I really would love to get my hands on that when I can because I'm a big Vex King fan. We're on to the final 2. She's on the Money. This is changing your mindset in a different realm but I still think this is really important, and I thought it was important to mention it with you guys today. A lot of you have probably heard the podcast. I know that was really popular when I was asking you for podcast recommendations on my Instagram. I now too do listen to the podcast, but yeah, basically she goes over the financial future and understanding the financial world. And I was talking to my friend Nicole about this a while ago. I felt like I just didn't understand a lot of finance stuff, like basic stuff that I think everybody should know about. I just didn't fully understand, and this puts it in a really easy to understand way. It helps you understand what some people talk about, because I'm not gonna lie, some people, when they talk about finance, it goes in one ear and out the other, and I just didn't get it. So if you want to improve your mindset with money and understand, I guess, the finance side of things a little bit more, this is a really good book to read. And there's like lots of graphics in here that just help you understand, and she breaks everything down so well. She talks about home loans, insurance, family planning, financial freedom, saving, investing, all the finance things. And the last one I have to share with you guys is How to Be Well. This is a really good book. As you can see, it's quite large. It's almost like a coffee table book. This would actually be a really nice coffee table book. This goes through a whole bunch of stuff for leveling up, and it's written really well. I'm not sure, there's two, Karen Coates and Sharon Kolkka. They've written this book really well, and it's designed to go through women's health, and there's different sections that address different states of being: thriving, surviving, or depleted. I read this when I was depleted, but you can read it at any phase, and it kind of goes through like targeted information for you, and really just helps understand a variety of things to do with women's health. It's also a beautiful book, may I just add. Goes through the pillars of wellness, nourishment, your gut, exercise, emotional well-being, stress and your nervous system, stress resilience, thriving in a toxic world, your hormones. And I just found this really good to get a general sense of what I needed to do to level up. I actually read this before I went to my naturopath, who has helped so much in my wellness journey. But I feel like having this knowledge is really important. Like, it kind of got me to question things that I was doing and reevaluate, yeah, some of the things that I just like kind of had never considered that may be impacting on my stress. For example, high intensity workouts and their influence on my cortisol levels, or some of the foods that I eat, the water quality. It's just a really good book. I've seen a few girlies reading this recently, so I would definitely recommend. Look how beautiful this book is. Stunning. I actually kind of want to leave it on display in my room somewhere, because yeah, it's a nice coffee table. But that is the books that I have to share with you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you are able to get a new book recommendation out of this, because these truly are some of my favorite books, the ones that I like loan out to friends and family, because I just feel like there's so much goodness in these books that have really changed part of my thinking in some way or another. If you do read any of these books or have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought. I would love to chat to you about them. And also, if you've got any other recommendations, maybe leave them in the comments so all of us can get some new book recommendations along the lines of changing your mindset, wellness, self-development, all those good things. We can kind of like come back to this video when we're looking for a new book to read. I would love to do another one of these once I've read some more books. I do have quite a few on my to read list that I've bought, but thank you so much for watching this video and hanging out with me today. I am sending you all a lot of love, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Bye guys.